Okay, today we're going to go over some of the safety procedures with using new compounds and chemicals. I'm going to show you how to set up some of the supplies that we're working with, and then you guys will be able to do your first mixtures and solutions lab in class tomorrow. So the first important piece that you guys need to know about is everything that we do lives on the blue tray. So as you get your supplies, the first thing you'll pick up is the blue tray, and everything kind of goes on there, and as we do the labs, we try to keep that on our blue tray, and that way we don't have any spills or accidents around the room. It kind of helps keep that all gathered. So in this particular lab, we're looking at how we separate a solid from a liquid, and we've got three solids that we're going to be working with, specifically diatomaceous earth, which we will call powder because diatomaceous earth is kind of a mouthful. Please realize this is kind of like a baby powder type substance, and it is an irritant. So if you get it on your hands or skin, it's not going to cause any serious harm, but you'll want to wash your hands before you leave the classroom if you touch that. If that scares you at all, make sure your lab partners are the ones doing that. In order to help prevent you from getting it on your hands, when you guys go to set the spoon back in there, make sure it's tilting up with a little handle sitting up. That'll kind of make it so nobody has to reach down in there. We're also going to be working with gravel and kosher salt. So those you should kind of have a little bit of knowledge and experience on. You're going to get 6 plastic cups, and each of the cups is going to get labeled with a sticky note, P. You're going to have 2 cups that are labeled P. Remember, P stands for the powder or the diatomaceous earth. You're going to have 2 cups that are labeled with a G for gravel. And you're going to have 2 cups that are labeled with S for salt. While one person goes to pick up those cups and other supplies that you'll need from your materials list, another one will go over to the counter and get a cup of water. This is typically what our cups of water look like, and you'll need that. Okay, when you get back to your desk, you're going to need to stack up 3 of those. You're going to take the other 3 like this, and you're going to go get 5 milliliters of each solid into each specific cup. So 5 milliliters of diatomaceous earth goes into the powder cup. 5 milliliters of gravel goes into the G cup. And 5 milliliters of salt goes into the S cup. Then the first thing that you're going to do when you go back to your group is you're going to just make some observations about the physical characteristics of it. What does it look like? And you'll get some hand lenses and be able to look at it a little bit closer. Talk about the color, the shape, the size, the texture. Remember, if you say that they're all tiny particles, that's not very descriptive, because once you get these, you're going to notice that they vary in size. And if you say that they're large, you might want to rethink that. I've had kids say before that the gravel is large in particle size. Well, large is relative. So think about using maybe some of those similes. It's like a, or it's as a, it's as large as a, those kinds of things. So you'll want to do that. Okay, you'll make your observations. Then you'll need your water, your cup of water, and your syringe. The syringes are a little bit tricky to work with, so you just kind of have to get used to them. As you guys work with them more, you'll get more used to it. You're going to suck up 50 milliliters, and they always make that funny sound that you guys like to laugh at, of water. If there's an air bubble in there, go to the lowest water line, and don't worry so much about the air bubble. So I'm going to get 50 milliliters of water in there. And I'm going to do that 3 times because that 50 milliliters of water is going to go into each one of my cups. As you squirt it in there, especially with the powder, make sure your head is back away from it. You don't need to be looking over it. You don't want any of it to splash up into your face. And you're just going to carefully squirt that in there. If you go nice and slow and steady with a good squirt, it'll go in there without splattering all over. If you try to squirt it too fast, it'll kind of splatter, and if you go too slow, it kind of sputters and again splatters. So that one's in there. Then you're going to do the same thing, repeat for the gravel. And repeat for the salt. If you get a little too much in, I just did, you're just going to go ahead and squirt it back into your water cup. No worries. Alright. Then you're going to take your stir sticks, and because you're working in groups, it should be fairly simple for you to each stir 1 cup. You're going to stir for 2 minutes, so you'll watch the clock and stir each mixture for 2 minutes. So you'll go ahead and give those a nice stir for 2 minutes. Once those 2 minutes have passed, Then we're going to go on to the separating part. So all of this was just kind of creating our mixture. We're going to go ahead and start separating our mixture. You're going to use a screen. This is what the screen looks like. Don't pull on it too much or anything because you want it to stay nice and solid. Okay, so you're going to take your screen. You're going to take your first cup, your S cup, for example. You're going to set that onto your tray. And as you have completely stirred your mixture for 2 minutes, once that's done, you're going to give it a nice good stir before you pour it through. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to pour that mixture nice and steady through the screen. And you're looking to see, was the screen able to separate that particular mixture? And you need to record that on your data chart whether that was or was not able to separate it. Okay, then you're going to set that mixture aside for right now. And you're going to go on to your next one. So you can take the pea cup, your diatomaceous earth, and you're going to take your pea mixture, and again you want to give it a nice good stir before you pour it through the screen. So stir it nice and good, get that stirred up real well. Even though you stirred it for 2 minutes, it's been sitting for a little bit, so you want to give that a good stir. And then carefully pour that through the screen. And again, you're looking to see, was that able to separate it? Did you end up back with 5 milliliters of powder once you were finished? After you've recorded that on your data chart, you can set that mixture aside and move on to your gravel. Repeat the same step. Pour that, stir, and then pour through. Okay, if anything was able to separate, you are officially done with that mixture. You're going to set it aside. You were able to separate it. You found the solution to separate it. If you weren't able to separate them, you're going to move on and use a coffee filter. Now it's really important that you do a couple things with your coffee filter as you use it. You want to fold it in half first. So fold it in half. Then you're going to fold it in half again. Okay, so it makes kind of this diamond shape. And then you're going to open up one little pocket. Okay, you got to make sure it's the pocket that it doesn't go through. You don't want this part. You want this part. You're going to take your hand and you're just I think I can do that. Okay, you're just barely going to dip that coffee filter into your water. You don't want it soaking wet, you just want it damp. What that does is it prevents any of the mixture from sticking. It allows it to go through. This way the coffee filter doesn't absorb your mixture, it only traps whatever it's going to trap. Okay, that goes then into your funnel stand. This is your funnel stand. It has 3 legs to it. These are the legs. Each of the legs gets inserted into the base there, just like so. So you want to insert those in. If they're a little loose, sometimes they are, that's okay. In fact, this leg seems very loose. It's going to stand on your tray like this. So, then your filter is going to go inside your tray just like that. You're going to take your first solution, we're going to take our S solution. You've now got an empty cup. It goes underneath. Make sure that cup's underneath, otherwise whatever you pour through is going to end up on your tray or desk, and you don't want that. And then you're going to take your S mixture, and again you're going to stir it real quick. Give it a good stir before you pour it through, and go ahead and pour it through the coffee filter. Okay, and then you just got to let that drain through. And you're going to observe, was the coffee filter able to separate the salt from the water? Make that observation. When you've made that observation, go ahead and record it on your data chart, whether it was or was not. Remember, if it does, you want to see that salt in there. Okay, once it's done dripping, you can give it a little shake to kind of help it along. Once it's done dripping, you can set that aside, and you're going to do the same process with any of the remaining solutions that did not separate. Again, remember to stir thoroughly before you pour through. Okay, your last step is you're going to make all those last observations and determine whether you were able to separate out the mixture or not. Okay, fill in your entire data chart and your conclusion. You're going to keep the coffee filter, we'll set it over on the counter and let it dry to see if in fact we were able to separate everything that we thought we were. Okay, so this is your first Mixtures and Solutions lab. Again, be very careful that if you touch stuff or if stuff spills, you wash your hands or let me know. Accidents happen, I understand that, but make sure you're using those precautions as you do this.